Imagine for a moment that the ticking of the clock beside you isn't real, that the steady rhythm, the silent sweep of seconds into minutes, is nothing more than a trick of the mind, a comforting lie we've woven to make sense of the chaos of existence. What if time, this invisible river we swim in, isn't a force of nature at all, but an illusion, a fragile construct we've built to anchor ourselves in an otherwise boundless reality? Let's step into this unsettling thought together, with a quiet curiosity, as we unravel the whisper of time's illusion. We've all felt time's grip, its relentless push forward, urging us through days and years, marking our lives with birthdays and deadlines. It seems so undeniable, so concrete, as if it's woven into the very fabric of the universe. And yet, beneath this certainty lies a shadow of doubt, a whisper that has echoed through the ages. Ancient philosophers like Heraclitus pondered the fleeting nature of reality, suggesting that change itself might be the only constant, while others, like Parmenides, dared to question whether change, and by extension time, was even real. They asked, if everything is in a state of eternal being, unchanging at its core, could time be nothing more than a mirage, a story we tell ourselves to explain the shifting world around us? Take a moment to reflect on this. Close your eyes, if only for a breath, and feel the weight of now. Does it feel solid, or does it slip through your fingers like sand, already becoming something else? The more we try to grasp time, the more elusive it becomes. Even modern science, with its precise instruments and equations, stumbles when pressed to define time's true nature. Physicists speak of time as a dimension, a coordinate intertwined with space, yet they cannot touch it, cannot hold it under a microscope. Some theories suggest that time emerges from the interactions of particles, a byproduct of motion and entropy, rather than a fundamental truth. If this is so, are we not living within a grand deception, measuring our lives by something that exists only in our perception? Consider the way we experience time, how it seems to bend and stretch with our emotions. A moment of joy can vanish in an instant, while an hour of pain can feel like an eternity. Is this not a clue? A hint that time is not an external force, but a creation of the mind? The ancient Indian texts of the Upanishads speak of time as Maya, an illusion, a veil that obscures the eternal truth of existence. They invite us to look beyond the ticking clock, to see the unchanging essence beneath the surface of change. What if they were right? What if every second, every hour, is just a brushstroke on a canvas that never truly alters, a dream we mistake for reality? Let's linger on this thought as we drift deeper into the mystery. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast desert, where the horizon blurs into infinity. There are no clocks here, no calendars, only the endless dance of sand and sky. In such a place, time seems to dissolve, to lose its hold. You might feel, for a fleeting moment, that you've stepped outside its stream, that you've glimpsed something timeless, a stillness that exists beyond the illusion. And yet, as soon as you try to name it, to capture it, it slips away, pulling you back into the familiar rhythm of hours and minutes. This is the paradox we face. We cannot escape time, even if it isn't real. We are bound by its rules, by the aging of our bodies, by the seasons that turn and the stars that wheel overhead. But what if this binding is of our own making? What if, in some quiet corner of our being, we already know that time is a story, a necessary fiction to navigate a world too vast, too eternal, for our fragile minds to comprehend? Perhaps the whisper of time's illusion is not meant to unsettle us, but to free us, to remind us that beneath the ticking and the tocking lies a deeper reality, one that waits patiently for us to awaken. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the thought settle like a soft mist over a still lake. What does time mean to you in this very breath? Is it a chain, a guide, or something else entirely, a phantom you've learned to live with? As we sit with this question, let the world grow quiet. Let the rush of the day fade into a gentle hush. There is no hurry here, no deadline to meet. Only the mystery remains, inviting us to wonder, to dream, and perhaps to see beyond the illusion that shapes our fleeting lives. Imagine, for a moment, a world where neither yesterday nor tomorrow holds any weight. A world where the only reality is the breath you're taking right now. What if everything before this instant, every memory of laughter or pain, and everything ahead, every hope or fear, were just illusions? Stories woven by a mind desperate to escape the simplicity of this singular, unending moment. Let's linger here in the quiet mystery of what some call the eternal now, and ask ourselves, could it be that only the present truly exists? We often think of life as a journey, a line stretching from birth to some distant end, with milestones, marking where we've been and where we're going. But what if that line is a mirage? What if the past is nothing more than a shadow cast by our thoughts, a collection of images and sensations we replay to convince ourselves we've traveled somewhere? And the future? Could it be just a phantom, a projection of desires and dreads that never arrive, always slipping just beyond our grasp? Strip away these stories and what remains is this: the coolness of the air on your skin, the faint hum of the world around you, the steady rhythm of your own pulse. This is the now, the only place where existence seems to anchor itself. But why do we resist it so fiercely? Why do we flee into the echoes of what was, or the whispers of what might be? Consider the teachings of ancient traditions, like those found in mindfulness practices that stretch back thousands of years. Sages and monks sat in stillness, urging us to return to this very moment, to let go of the burdens of memory and anticipation. They saw the now as a doorway to something eternal, a space where the mind's chatter falls silent and we touch something deeper, something unbound by the ticking of a clock. In their view, the past and future are chains we forge ourselves, illusions that keep us from the freedom of simply being. And yet, how often do we find ourselves caught in those chains, replaying old regrets or scripting tomorrow's worries, as if the now were too small, too fleeting to hold us? Science, too, offers a lens on this enigma, though its language is colder, more precise. In the realm of physics, some theories suggest that time as we experience it, flowing, linear, irreversible, might not be fundamental. Instead, what if reality is a single, unchanging moment, and our sense of before and after is just the way our brains slice through that vastness to make sense of it? Picture a film reel, every frame existing at once, but your mind can only see one at a time, creating the illusion of motion, of progression. If this is true, then the now isn't a fleeting dot on a timeline. It's everything. It's the only frame that matters, the only one we ever truly inhabit. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does it mean to live in a world where nothing else exists but this very second? Does it free you, or does it unsettle you to think that all you've ever known might be a trick of perception? Let's wander deeper into this thought. If the now is all there is, why do we feel such a pull toward what's gone, or what's yet to come? Perhaps it's because the present in its rawness can be overwhelming. It asks us to face ourselves as we are, without the comfort of nostalgia or the distraction of plans. It strips away the narratives we build to define who we are. I was this, I will be that, and leaves us with the quiet, sometimes uncomfortable truth of just being. A child doesn't dwell on yesterday's game or tomorrow's chores. They sink fully into the mud beneath their feet, the laughter in their throat. Have we lost that ability as we've grown, or have we buried it beneath layers of thought, beneath the weight of a mind that insists on wandering anywhere but here? And yet, even as we ponder this, the now slips through our fingers. Try to hold it, to pin it down, and it's already gone, replaced by another now and another. Or is it? Maybe it's not slipping at all. Maybe it's always the same, an eternal stillness we keep mistaking for movement. Imagine standing by a river, watching the water rush past, believing you're moving forward when, in truth, you're rooted to the bank and it's the river that flows. Is that what the now is? A fixed point we stand in, while the illusion of time streams around us? The question lingers, quiet and persistent, like a whisper in the dark. Are we truly moving through time, or are we simply here, always here, in a moment that never ends? Let this thought settle into your mind as you rest in this space. There's no need to chase answers or unravel every mystery right now. Just notice the weight of this idea, that the present might be all there is, that everything else could be a story you've told yourself. What would it mean to live as if this were true? To let go of the past's grip, to release the future's pull, and to sink fully into the only reality we might ever know. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the question drift with you, like a leaf on that endless river, as we sit together in the quiet expanse of now. Imagine for a moment that the ticking of a clock isn't a universal truth, but a fragile illusion, bending and warping under unseen forces. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a distant planet, gazing at a sky strewn with alien stars, where the hands of time move at a pace you cannot fathom. A second here might stretch into an hour on Earth, or collapse into a fleeting heartbeat. This is not the stuff of dreams, but the unsettling reality Albert Einstein unveiled with his theory of relativity, a revelation that shattered our naive trust in time as a steady, unchanging stream. Let us journey into this cosmic mystery, where clocks falter and the very fabric of time twists, leaving us to wonder, if time is so fickle, so relative, does it hold any absolute meaning at all, or are we merely trapped in our own fleeting perception of its flow? Consider the essence of Einstein's insight, born in the quiet of thought experiments over a century ago. He proposed that time is not a rigid line etched into the universe, but a dimension intertwined with space itself, bending under the weight of gravity. A clock on a speeding spaceship ticks slower than one on Earth. A timepiece near a black hole, where gravity's pull is a crushing force, might seem to freeze entirely from the perspective of a distant observer. Imagine two friends, separated by such cosmic extremes, one orbiting a star at near light speed, the other rooted on a quiet hillside. When they reunite, one might have aged mere days, while the other has lived through decades. Their clocks, their very lives, tell different stories. Time, then, is not a shared rhythm, but a personal experience, molded by the paths we tread through the universe. Take a moment to reflect on this. How does it feel to know that the seconds you count are not the same as those counted by another, somewhere far beyond your reach? Let us deepen this thought with a quiet wander through the implications. If time slows near massive objects or at tremendous speeds, then what of a being who exists at the edge of a black hole's event horizon? To us, their clock might appear to halt, their final moment stretched into an eternity. Yet from their perspective, time flows as it always has, uninterrupted, unremarkable. Who then holds the true measure of time? Is it the observer, watching from afar, or the one caught in gravity's unyielding grip? This relativity forces us to confront a humbling truth. Time is not an absolute ruler over existence, but a pliable thread, woven differently for each of us. It suggests that our perception of time's passage, those mornings that drag on forever, those years that slip through our fingers, might be more than mere feeling. It might be a glimpse into the malleable nature of reality itself. Now, let this idea settle into a broader, more haunting question. If time is relative, shaped by motion and gravity, then does it possess any inherent meaning? Or is it merely a construct we cling to for order? Imagine a universe with no observers, no minds to mark the hours or mourn their passing. Would time still exist in such a void? Or is it born only in our need to measure, to categorize, to understand? Einstein's equations offer no comfort here. They describe how time behaves, not why it matters. Perhaps time's deepest truth lies not in its mechanics, but in its subjectivity, an intimate dance between the cosmos and consciousness. We are not passive spectators to time's flow. We are its co-creators, each of us experiencing a unique version of its rhythm, shaped by where we stand in the vast tapestry of space. As we linger on this thought, Imagine yourself once more on that distant planet, where time unfolds at its own mysterious pace. The stars above do not care for your earthly clocks, nor do they heed your hurried sense of days. Here, in this imagined solitude, time reveals itself as a personal illusion, a story told differently by every soul, every particle, every corner of the universe. Does this relativity liberate us, freeing us from the tyranny of a universal tick? Or does it isolate us, each trapped in our own warped perception of eternity? Let this question hover in the quiet of your mind. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does time mean to you when its very nature bends with the path you choose to walk? And so, we rest here for now, in the shadow of a cosmos where time is not a constant, but a variable, a whisper that changes with every step we take. Perhaps the true mystery is not how time warps, but why we feel its weight so deeply, why we yearn for it to hold still, even as it slips through our grasp. Let this thought carry you into a gentle stillness, a space where the clock's relentless march fades, and all that remains is the quiet wonder of being here, now, in your own unique fragment of eternity. Imagine a world where every moment, every heartbeat, every fleeting thought is tethered to a single, unyielding direction. A world where the past is forever behind us, and the future looms as an unreachable horizon, pulling us ever forward. Why does time seem to march in only one direction? Like an arrow piercing through the fabric of existence, unrelenting and irreversible. This invisible force governs our lives, shaping the way we experience birth, growth, decay, and ultimately, an end. But what if this forward motion, this arrow of time, is not a choice, but a cruel inevitability woven into the very nature of the universe? Let's wander into this mystery, stepping softly into the realm of science and philosophy, where the answers are not promises, but whispered possibilities. Picture a cup of tea on a quiet morning, steam rising in delicate tendrils, curling and dissipating into the air. Once the heat is gone, it does not return. The tea cools, the steam vanishes, and the moment slips away. This is entropy, the silent law that dictates the universe's preference for disorder over order. According to the second law of thermodynamics, everything, every star, every breath, every thought, moves toward a state of greater chaos. A shattered glass does not reassemble itself. A wilted flower does not bloom again on its own. Time, it seems, is bound to this decay, dragging us along as witnesses to an unraveling cosmos. But why? Why does the universe favor this direction, this relentless slide into disorder? Is it merely a quirk of physics, a rule etched into the foundation of reality? Or is there something deeper, something almost poetic in this asymmetry? Imagine for a moment the early universe, a searing, compressed point of infinite potential just after the Big Bang. In that primal instant, order reigned, a perfect, unimaginable symmetry. And then, as space expanded and cooled, chaos crept in, spreading like ink through water. Time's arrow, some say, was born in that expansion, forever tied to the universe's journey from unity to fragmentation. We are, in a way, children of this cosmic decay, our lives unfolding in tandem with the universe's quiet descent. Yet, there is an unsettling thought that lingers in the shadow of this idea. If time's direction is tied to entropy, to this inevitable unraveling, could there be a moment, a distant, unfathomable future, where the arrow falters? What if the universe reaches a state of maximum disorder, where no further decay is possible? Would time itself grind to a halt, frozen in a final eternal stillness? Or, stranger still, could the arrow reverse? Imagine a world where entropy unwinds, where broken things mend themselves, where the past becomes the future, and the future the past. A universe where we live our lives backward, remembering what is yet to come, and forgetting what has already been. Does such a reversal defy the very essence of what it means to exist, Or does it hint at a hidden symmetry we cannot yet grasp? Take a moment to reflect on this. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast, silent desert, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Each day it sets, and each morning it rises again, but always in the same order, never reversing. What if one day it didn't? What if the sun rose in the west and time itself seemed to stutter, to question its own path? Would we even notice? Or are we so bound to this forward motion that we cannot imagine another way? Let's linger on this unease a little longer. The arrow of time is not just a scientific curiosity. It is deeply personal. It carves the shape of our joys and our sorrows. We mourn the past because we cannot reclaim it. We fear the future because we cannot predict it. Every goodbye, every loss, every fleeting moment of happiness is etched into the forward march of this invisible force. And yet, is this direction a comfort or a cage? Does it give our lives meaning, a sense of progression, of stories with beginnings and ends? Or does it bind us to a path we did not choose, a relentless current sweeping us toward oblivion? Consider the stars above, burning brightly in the night sky, each one a testament to time's unyielding trajectory. They are born in fiery nurseries of gas and dust. They shine for eons, and then they collapse, scattering their remnants into the void. Their lives, like ours, are governed by this same arrow, this same inevitable drift toward an end. But in their death, they seed new stars, new worlds, new beginnings. Is this forward motion, then, not just decay, but also creation? Is time's arrow both a harbinger of loss and a quiet promise of renewal? As we sit with these questions, let the weight of them settle over you like a gentle fog. The arrow of time, this mysterious, unrelenting force, shapes not just the universe, but the very fabric of our existence. It is a law we cannot escape, a riddle we cannot fully solve. And yet, in its mystery, there is a strange beauty, a reminder that every moment, every breath, is a fleeting gift carried on the current of something vast and unknowable. Let this thought linger as we rest here in the quiet space between one tick of the clock and the next, wondering if time's direction is our guide or our silent master. Imagine, for a moment, that every breath you take, every fleeting thought, every step you've ever walked is destined to replay, an endless echo in the vast theatre of existence. What if the life you're living now isn't a singular journey, but a recording stuck on an eternal loop, repeating itself through the shadows of infinity? This is the haunting idea of eternal recurrence, a concept that whispers to us from the depths of philosophy, daring us to confront the possibility that we've been here before and will be here again. Let's wander into this eerie landscape of thought, where time doesn't stretch forward into an uncharted future, nor does it fade into a forgotten past. Instead, it curves back upon itself, a serpent biting its own tail, forming a circle without beginning or end. This notion, brought to chilling clarity by Friedrich Nietzsche, suggests that every moment of our existence, every joy, every sorrow, every mundane pause, will return, identical in every detail, to be lived over and over for all eternity. Picture yourself at this very instant, listening to these words, feeling the weight of your breath, and imagine that you've done this countless times before, unaware of the repetition, trapped in a cosmic rerun that plays beyond your comprehension. Nietzsche didn't merely propose this as a thought experiment, he wielded it as a test of the human spirit. He asked, if you were told that your life would repeat infinitely, down to the smallest detail, would you embrace it with open arms, or would you crumble under the weight of its inevitability? Would you live differently, knowing that every choice, every mistake, every fleeting triumph would echo forever? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the question settle into the quiet corners of your mind. What would it mean to affirm your life in its entirety? To say yes to every tear and every laugh, knowing they are not fleeting, but eternal. This idea of eternal recurrence isn't just a philosophical riddle. It carries a profound existential weight. It strips away the comfort of finality, the belief that our struggles and achievements are temporary, that they will one day dissolve into the dust of time. Instead, it insists that nothing is lost, nothing is escaped. Every moment is preserved, replayed, relived. Imagine the mundane, a rainy afternoon spent gazing out a window, the sound of distant thunder rolling through your memory. Now imagine that scene returning, not as a memory, but as a lived reality, over and over, with no hope of alteration or escape. There's a quiet terror in this, isn't there? A sense of being caught in a web you cannot see, woven by forces beyond your grasp. Yet, there's also a strange beauty in the thought. If every moment repeats, then perhaps every moment matters more than we dare to believe. The smallest kindness, the briefest smile shared with a stranger, becomes a note in an eternal symphony, resonating through the ages. And perhaps, in this endless cycle, there is a call to live with fierce intention, to craft a life so rich, so full, that you would willingly relive it without hesitation. Nietzsche himself saw this as the ultimate affirmation, a way to transcend despair and find meaning in a universe that might otherwise seem indifferent. But let's linger on the uncertainty of it all. What if we are indeed caught in such a loop, unaware of its repetition? What if the déjà vu that flickers through your mind isn't just a trick of memory, but a glimpse into the eternal return? A faint recognition of a moment already lived. Science, too, toys with ideas that echo this philosophy. Some theories, in cosmology, suggest the universe might cycle through phases of expansion and contraction, a grand oscillation that could, in theory, reset the stage of existence. Could it be that the laws of nature themselves conspire to replay the same story, with us as unwitting actors in an unending play? As we sit with this thought, let the mystery deepen. Imagine yourself walking through a forest at dusk, the air cool against your skin, the rustle of leaves a familiar song. Now imagine that you've walked this path 1,000 times before, and will walk it 1,000 times more, each step an echo of the last. Does this diminish the beauty of the moment? Or does it infuse it with a weight you hadn't noticed before? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the idea of eternal recurrence settle over you like a quiet mist, obscuring the boundaries between what was, what is, and what will be. In the end, whether time loops back on itself or marches ever forward, the concept of eternal recurrence invites us to look at our lives with new eyes. It asks us to consider the weight of our choices, the texture of our days, as if they were not fleeting, but everlasting. And in this quiet contemplation, there is both a shiver of unease and a whisper of wonder, a reminder that perhaps, in some unfathomable way, we are bound to the eternal, woven into a pattern far greater than we can ever hope to see. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever known, every fleeting second, every cherished memory, every dream of tomorrow, exists not as a flowing river, but as a single, unchanging block of reality, a vast, eternal structure where past, present, and future are not separate chapters, but coexisting layers in a cosmic sculpture. This is not a fanciful thought, but a concept born from the quiet depths of physics, known as the block universe theory. What if time, as we feel it ticking away, is merely an illusion, a trick of perception, and everything that ever was or will be is already set in stone? Let's linger on this idea, allowing its weight to settle over us like a soft, enigmatic mist. In the block universe, time does not move. There is no forward march, no relentless progression from one moment to the next. Instead, all moments, your first breath, the last word you'll ever speak, the quiet pause of this very instant, exist simultaneously, side by side, as if frozen in a crystalline expanse. Picture yourself as a traveler, not moving through time, but merely shifting your gaze across different slices of this unchanging whole. A child laughing in a distant park, a star collapsing in a far-off galaxy, a decision you'll make years from now, All are equally real, equally present, etched into the fabric of existence with no hierarchy of before or after. This perspective, whispered through the equations of Einstein's relativity, suggests that time's flow might be a story we tell ourselves, a comforting narrative to make sense of our fleeting awareness. If the universe is a block, then our lives are not journeys but fixed points, coordinates in a four-dimensional map. The joy of a sunrise you once watched, the pain of a loss you've yet to face. These are not events that come and go, but permanent fixtures, waiting to be experienced as your consciousness drifts across them. Does this thought bring peace, or does it stir a quiet unease? Take a moment to reflect on this, to feel the weight of a reality where everything is already written, where the ink of existence dried long before you ever opened your eyes. Now, let's tread deeper into the shadow of this idea. If the block universe holds true, what becomes of free will? That sacred notion we cling to as the architect of our destinies. If every choice, every turn of fate is already embedded in this timeless structure, are we truly the authors of our lives, or merely actors reading lines from a script we cannot see? Imagine standing at a crossroads, agonizing over a decision, whether to stay or to leave, to speak or to remain silent, only to realize that the outcome was never in doubt. Both paths and all their consequences already exist, side by side, in the eternal now of the block. The anguish of choosing, the thrill of uncertainty might be nothing more than illusions, ripples on the surface of a reality that remains utterly still. Yet, there is a strange beauty in this, isn't there? If all moments are equally real, then nothing is ever truly lost. The laughter of a loved one, long faded from your ears, still resonates in its own slice of the block, as vivid and alive as it ever was. The future, too, with all its mysteries, is not a distant horizon, but a neighboring room, already furnished, with the events that will shape you. Perhaps there is solace in knowing that nothing slips away, that every tear and every smile is preserved in the amber of this timeless whole. Or perhaps it feels like a cage, a reality where change is an illusion and we are bound to relive our fixed existence, unaware of the boundaries that confine us. Let this thought linger as a quiet whisper in your mind. What does it mean to live in a universe where everything has already happened? Does it strip away the urgency of now? Or does it imbue every moment with a deeper significance, knowing it is eternally woven into the fabric of all things? Take a moment to reflect on this, to sit with the possibility that time, as we know, it might be a mirage, and that we are all part of a vast, unmoving tapestry, where every thread, every life, every breath has always been and always will be. Imagine, for a moment, a fleeting whisper of now, a single, precious instant that you try to hold in your hands, only to feel it slip through your fingers before you can even name it. This elusive present, the very heartbeat of our existence. Is it truly there? Or is it a mirage, a boundary we chase, but can never quite touch? Let us linger in this quiet curiosity, stepping into the paradox of the present, where time seems to both exist and dissolve in the same breath. Consider the nature of this moment. As you sit here listening to these words, you might feel the weight of now, a fragile sliver of reality that separates the vast expanse of the past from the uncharted territory of the future. But the instant you try to pin it down, to define it, it's gone, swallowed by memory, replaced by another now that feels just as fleeting. Is the present a real place, a solid ground on which we stand? Or is it merely a seam, an imperceptible line between what was and what will be? The more we reach for it, the more it seems to evade us, like a horizon that recedes with every step we take. Let's wander deeper into this riddle through a simple thought experiment. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a river, watching the water flow past. Each ripple, each wave, represents a moment, a now that glides by in an endless stream. You try to capture one, to scoop it up in your hands, but the water slips away, merging with the current, becoming indistinguishable from what came before and what follows after? Is there truly a single drop you can call the present? Or is it all just movement, a seamless flow that defies our attempts to carve it into pieces? This river of time, it seems, laughs at our need to grasp it, to hold on to something that was never meant to be held. Philosophers have long wrestled with this. Enigma. The ancient Greek thinker Zeno of Elea crafted paradoxes that challenge our understanding of motion and time, suggesting that perhaps the present is an illusion born of our perception. In his famous dichotomy paradox, he argued that to reach a destination, one must first travel half the distance, then half of the remaining distance, and so on, infinitely, implying that motion itself, and thus time, might be an endless series of unreachable nows. If every moment is infinitely divisible, where do we find the present? Is it buried in the smallest fraction of a second? Or does it exist only as a trick of the mind, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of change? Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of the now as it passes through you. Are you truly in it, or are you already remembering it as it fades? Let this thought linger like a quiet breath in the stillness. Now, let's turn to a more modern lens, one that echoes this ancient unease. In the realm of physics, the present becomes even more slippery. Scientists speak of time in terms of events, of measurements, yet they struggle to define the now with precision. At the quantum level, reality itself seems to blur, with particles existing in states of uncertainty until observed. Could the present be nothing more than the act of observation, a fleeting collapse of possibility into certainty? If so, then the now is not a universal truth, but a personal experience, shaped by the very act of being aware. It's a haunting thought that the present might not exist outside of us, that it is born and dies with our fleeting attention. Picture yourself again, not by a river, but in a vast, empty desert under a starlit sky. The silence is profound, and in that stillness, you try to feel the present, to anchor yourself in it. But every tick of your heartbeat, every breath, pushes it away, turning it into the past. The stars above, their light reaching you from millions of years ago, remind you that even this moment is layered with echoes of what was. Is there a true now in this cosmic dance, or are we always caught between reminiscence and anticipation, never fully here? This paradox of the present invites us to question not just time, but our place within it. If the now is an unreachable horizon, what does that mean for how we live? Are we forever chasing a ghost, pouring our energy into something that cannot be captured? Or is there a strange beauty in this impermanence, a reminder to let go, to simply be as the river flows, as the stars shine, as the moment slips away? Let this thought settle over you like a soft shadow. There's no need to answer, no need to solve the riddle tonight. Just sit with it, in the quiet mystery of this fleeting now, and let it carry you gently into the next breath, the next whisper of time. Imagine, for a moment, that you could step outside the relentless current of today and slip into a yesterday that no longer exists, or a tomorrow that hasn't yet arrived. The idea of time travel, that tantalizing dream woven into the fabric of human imagination, beckons with a promise of adventure and discovery. But what if this dream, so alluring on the surface, conceals a darker, more unsettling truth? What if the very act of crossing time's boundaries could shatter the fragile threads that hold our reality together? Let's wander into this enigmatic territory where science and philosophy intertwine, and the notion of journeying through time becomes less a triumph of human ingenuity and more a haunting riddle. The concept has long captured our collective longing. Stories of machines and portals, of rewriting history or glimpsing the future, have fueled countless tales. Yet, beneath the thrill lies a question that chills the soul. If we could alter the past, would we risk unraveling the very essence of who we are? Consider the grandfather paradox, a thought experiment as simple as it is disturbing. If you traveled back in time and prevented your own grandfather from meeting your grandmother, Would you cease to exist in that very moment? Or would the universe splinter into a new reality, leaving you a ghost of a timeline that no longer holds you? This paradox isn't merely a puzzle for idle minds. It scratches at the foundation of causality itself. The idea that every effect must follow a cause, that the past shapes the present in an unbroken chain. To meddle with time is to meddle with this order, to tug at a single thread and watch the entire tapestry tremble. Some physicists propose that time travel might be possible through the strange geometries of space-time, where wormholes could act as bridges between eras. Einstein's equations allow for such possibilities, hinting that under extreme conditions, near black holes or at unimaginable speeds, time could bend in ways that defy our everyday understanding. But even if the mathematics permit it, the implications remain shrouded in mystery. Would stepping through such a bridge create a loop, a closed cycle where events are doomed to repeat? Or would it spawn paradoxes so profound that nature itself forbids the act, weaving safeguards into the fabric of existence to prevent our reckless tampering? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine standing at the precipice of such a journey, the past or future within your grasp. Would you take the step, knowing that each choice might ripple outward in ways you cannot fathom? Would the weight of altering a single moment, saving a life, averting a tragedy, be worth the unseen cost to countless others? Let's deepen this contemplation by turning to the human heart. For time travel isn't just a matter of physics, it's a mirror to our deepest desires and regrets. Why do we yearn to revisit the past? Is it to mend what was broken, to whisper words left unsaid, or to reclaim a fleeting joy that slipped through our fingers? And why do we ache to see the future? Is it to assure ourselves that our struggles bear fruit, or to escape the uncertainty that haunts every unwritten tomorrow? This longing reveals something profound about our nature. We are beings bound by time, yet desperate to transcend it. But what if that transcendence comes at a price we cannot bear? What if in reaching back to change one sorrowful day, we erase the very lessons that shaped us, the very loves that defined us? There's an eerie stillness in this thought, a quiet that settles over the mind like a fog. Some theories suggest that time travel, if it exists, might not allow for change at all, that the past is immutable, and any attempt to alter it would simply fold into what always was. Imagine traveling back to stop a catastrophe, only to realize that your actions were the very cause of it. Such a notion paints time as a relentless, unyielding force, a river that carves its path no matter how we struggle against its current. We become not masters of time, but its unwitting pawns, caught in a dance we cannot escape. And so, as we linger in this shadowy realm of possibility, a question lingers like a whisper in the dark. Is time travel a dream to be pursued, or a curse to be feared? Does it offer liberation from the chains of regret and uncertainty, or does it threaten to unravel the delicate weave of our existence? Perhaps the true paradox lies not in the mechanics of bending time, but in the human soul's endless yearning to control what was never meant to be controlled. Let this thought drift with you, a quiet companion in the stillness, as you ponder the mysteries of a journey that may forever remain just beyond our reach. Imagine for a moment that every tick of the clock isn't just marking the passage of something inevitable, but is instead a quiet hammer forging chains around your heart. Time, this invisible force we live by, isn't merely a measure of seconds or years. It's a weight we carry, a silent burden that shapes how we feel, how we think, how we ache. Have you ever stopped to wonder why a single moment from years ago can still sting with regret, or why the shadow of tomorrow can steal the breath from today? Let's wander into this deeply personal realm, where time isn't just a concept or a scientific riddle, but a force that carves grooves into our very souls. Think about the last time you felt regret. Perhaps it was a choice you didn't make, a word left unspoken, or a path you turned away from. That moment, though long gone, lingers like a ghost in the corners of your mind, It's as if time has frozen that fragment of your life, refusing to let it fade, forcing you to replay it over and over. Why does the past wield such power over us? Is it because we believe time is a line, a story with a beginning and an end, where every misstep is etched permanently into the narrative? Or is it something deeper, a trick of our own making, where we cling to what was because we fear what might be? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of a memory surface and ask yourself, am I holding on to it, or is it holding on to me? And then there's the future, that vast, uncharted expanse that looms ahead, often draped in a fog of uncertainty. How often have you lain awake at night, your mind racing with questions of what might happen, what could go wrong, what you must prepare for? Anxiety, that restless companion, seems to feed on time itself, turning the unknown into a source of dread. It's strange, isn't it? How something that hasn't even arrived can feel so heavy. We project ourselves into tomorrow, weaving intricate webs of possibility, and yet, in doing so, we often lose the only thing we truly have, this very moment. Could it be that our obsession with time's forward march is what traps us, keeping us from the stillness that might heal these restless thoughts? Let's consider how this weight of time shapes entire lives. Think of the way societies have built monuments to the past, statues, memorials, archives, all in an effort to preserve what once was, or how we craft plans and goals, always reaching for a future version of ourselves, as if happiness lies just beyond the next horizon. But in this relentless pull between what has been and what might be, do we ever truly live? There's a quiet tragedy in this, a subtle ache that whispers, perhaps we've turned time into a cage, not a physical one, but an emotional prison, where we're bound by regrets we cannot undo and fears we cannot escape. What if the key to freedom lies not in mastering time, but in loosening our grip on it altogether? Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast, still lake at dawn, the water a perfect mirror of the sky. Each ripple, each disturbance, is a thought of yesterday, or a worry for tomorrow. But if you could still your mind, if you could let those ripples fade, wouldn't the lake return to its serene, unbroken surface? Maybe that's what living beyond time's weight could feel like, a return to a kind of quiet, where the past no longer haunts and the future no longer demands. It's not about forgetting or ignoring, but about releasing the need to let time define every emotion, every choice. Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine letting go of just one regret, one fear, and notice how your breath feels in that space of surrender. This burden of time, though, isn't just a personal struggle. It's woven into the human condition itself. Across centuries, poets have mourned lost opportunities, philosophers have wrestled with the fleeting nature of life, and ordinary souls have felt the pang of moments slipping through their fingers. From the ancient Greeks, who spoke of kairos, the opportune moment that must be seized, to the modern rush of deadlines and schedules, we've always been at odds with time's grip on our hearts. Could it be that this tension is what makes us human? Or is it a flaw, a self-imposed suffering we've yet to outgrow? There's a mystery here, a quiet invitation to wonder if we might one day learn to dance with time rather than be dragged by it. As we linger in this thought, consider the possibility that time's emotional weight is not an inevitable truth, but a perspective we've chosen. What if regret is just a story we tell ourselves about the past, an anxiety of fiction we write about the future? What if, beneath these layers of longing and fear, there lies a deeper stillness, a place where time's heaviness dissolves into something lighter, something free? It's an elusive thought, like catching a glimpse of starlight through a clouded sky. But perhaps it's worth reaching for. Let this idea settle within you. Imagine a life where time no longer feels like a burden, but like a gentle current, carrying you without demand or judgment. And so, we rest here, in the quiet space between what was and what will be, pondering the weight we've given to something so intangible. Time, This silent sculptor of our emotions may always shape how we feel, but perhaps we too can shape how we carry it. Let this thought linger as a soft whisper in your mind, a question without urgency. Are you ready to lighten the load, to step beyond the cage and simply be? Imagine a moment so far beyond our comprehension that the very essence of change, the steady pulse of seconds and minutes, comes to a quiet, eternal halt. Picture a universe grown old, its fiery stars long extinguished, its vast expanse a silent, motionless void. What if time itself, the invisible thread that weaves through every breath and heartbeat, simply ceases to be? Let us wander into this haunting possibility, a future so distant it feels like a dream, yet grounded in the cold logic of cosmic decay. We are gazing into the end of time, a realm where the heartbeat of existence no longer beats, and the question lingers like a whisper in the dark. What does it mean to be when there is no before, no after, only a frozen forever? Consider the universe as it is now, alive with motion, with galaxies spiraling, planets orbiting, and life unfolding in a ceaseless dance of cause and effect. This dynamism, this relentless push forward, is driven by a fundamental force we call entropy, the slow unraveling of order into chaos. Every ticking clock, every falling leaf, is a small testament to this inevitable drift toward disorder. Scientists tell us that entropy must increase, that the universe is expanding, cooling, spreading thin like a sigh across the void. And in this expansion, there comes a point, a moment so far in the future that our minds struggle to grasp it, where entropy reaches its maximum. Everything that can happen has happened. Every particle, every wave of energy settles into a state of perfect equilibrium, a stillness so absolute that there is no longer any gradient, no difference to drive change. Time, as we understand it, is the measure of change. So, in a cosmos where nothing can shift, where nothing can become something else, does time itself dissolve into meaninglessness? Let this thought settle over you like a quiet fog. Imagine a universe without events, without the possibility of a tomorrow. It is not death, for death implies a transition, a before and an after. This is something stranger, something emptier, a state where existence itself seems to pause, suspended in a silence that knows no end. Take a moment to reflect on this. What would it feel like to inhabit such a reality, if feeling were even possible? Is there a kind of peace in this ultimate stillness? Or does the absence of motion strip away the very essence of what it means to be? Some theories in cosmology paint this picture with chilling clarity. They speak of a heat death, a final chapter where the universe reaches a state of maximum entropy, where temperature evens out to a uniform nothingness and all energy dissipates into an unchangeable whisper. In such a reality, there are no clocks to tick, for there is nothing left to measure. Time, as a concept, becomes an artifact of a bygone era, a relic of a universe that once pulsed with possibility. But let us push deeper into this mystery. If time is tied to change, and change ceases, does time end, or does it transform into something we cannot fathom? Could there be a kind of existence beyond our temporal understanding, a state where being is no longer bound by sequence, by the relentless march from past to future? Picture yourself standing at the edge of this cosmic horizon, gazing into a reality where the very fabric of time has unraveled. There is no hurry here, no urgency, for there is nowhere to go, nothing to become. It is a thought both terrifying and serene, like staring into an endless mirror that reflects nothing but stillness. And yet, within this eerie quiet, a question hums softly. If time ends, does meaning end with it? We humans are creatures of narrative, weaving stories of beginnings and endings to make sense of our fleeting lives. But in a universe without time, where there are no chapters, no climaxes, no resolutions, what becomes of purpose? Is existence itself contingent on the flow of moments? Or could there be a deeper essence, a silent core that persists even when The clock stops. Let this linger in your mind as you drift through these thoughts. Imagine the last flicker of motion in the cosmos, the final sigh of a dying star, and then nothing. Not darkness, not light, just an eternal now that defies description. Take a moment to reflect on this. What emotions stir within you as you contemplate a reality stripped of time's rhythm? Perhaps there is a strange comfort in the idea that all striving, all struggle, all longing could one day dissolve into this ultimate calm. Or perhaps there is an ache, a quiet sadness for the loss of possibility, for the end of becoming. As we hover in this imagined future, let us not rush to answers, for there are none to be found in such a boundless mystery. Instead, let us sit with the enigma of time's end, with the notion that the universe might one day shed its temporal skin and rest in a state we cannot name. What whispers to us from this silent cosmos? This frozen expanse where change is no more. Perhaps it is a reminder of our own impermanence, a call to cherish the fleeting now. Or perhaps it is something stranger still, a glimpse of an existence so alien, so beyond our grasp, that it humbles us into quiet wonder. Let this thought be a gentle current, carrying you deeper into reflection, into the vast, uncharted waters of what might be when time itself fades into the eternal unknown. Imagine, for a moment, a place where the ticking of clocks falls silent, where the relentless march of hours and days dissolves into nothingness. Picture a realm untouched by the constraints of beginnings or endings, where the very concept of before and after ceases to hold meaning. What would it feel like to exist in such a state, to step beyond the boundaries of time itself and into a vast, eternal essence? Let us wander into this mysterious territory together, exploring the notion of a timeless existence, where the fabric of reality is no longer tethered to the fleeting pulse of temporality. In many ancient spiritual traditions, time is seen not as a fundamental truth, but as a veil, a shimmering illusion that obscures a deeper reality. The mystics of old spoke of a state of being where the soul rests in pure presence, unshackled from the chains of past regrets and future fears. In the teachings of certain Eastern philosophies, there is the concept of the eternal, a boundless now that transcends the linear path we so often tread. Imagine sitting by a still lake at dawn, the world hushed, the water a perfect mirror of the sky. In that moment, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, only the quiet hum of existence itself. Could this be a glimpse of what lies beyond time, a fleeting taste of a reality where all is one, unchanging and whole? But let us not confine our wandering to the realm of spirit alone. Speculative science, too, whispers of possibilities that stretch beyond our temporal cage. Some theories in modern physics suggest the existence of dimensions or states where time as we know it simply does not apply. Picture a universe, or perhaps something beyond a universe, where events do not unfold in sequence, where cause and effect are meaningless concepts. In such a place, everything that ever was, is, or will be, exists in a singular, indescribable state. It is not a moment, for moments imply duration. It is not a memory, for memories imply a past. It is, perhaps, a kind of infinite stillness, a canvas unpainted by the brush of change. What would it mean to be part of such a reality? Would we even recognize ourselves without the familiar rhythm of time to define our edges? Consider too the stories woven by those who claim to have touched the timeless through meditation or profound experience. They speak of a dissolution, of self, a merging with something greater, where the ticking of life's clock fades into a silence so deep it feels like home. There is an ancient tale from the traditions of the desert, of a wanderer who sat beneath a starlit sky for days, seeking answers to the nature of being. In his stillness, he felt the boundaries of time slip away, as if the stars themselves whispered that all moments are but one. Whether myth or truth, such stories stir a quiet longing within us, a yearning to know if we too could step beyond the relentless flow and simply be. Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself untethered from time's grip, floating in a space where nothing begins and nothing ends. What emotions rise within you at the thought of such freedom? Is there fear in letting go of the familiar, or a quiet peace in the idea of pure existence? Let us linger a little longer on this edge of understanding. If a timeless state truly exists, what does it reveal about the nature of our own reality? Are we merely visitors in a temporal world, bound by its rules for a fleeting span only to return to something greater? Or is time so woven into the fabric of who we are that to imagine its absence is to imagine the unimaginable? Perhaps the answer lies not in knowing, but in feeling, in the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the breath that holds no hurry, in the heartbeat that echoes without counting. As we drift through these questions, let the mystery of a timeless existence settle over you like a soft, unseen mist. There is no need to grasp for certainty here, no urgency to define what lies beyond. For in this moment of contemplation, we touch something akin to eternity, a whisper of what might be, a shadow of what always is. Let this thought carry you, gently, like a leaf on a still river, into the quiet depths of wonder. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever known, every second, every hour, every fleeting memory of yesterday, is nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. What if the very ticking of the clock, the rhythm that governs your days, is not a universal truth, but a line of code, a fabricated thread woven into the fabric of a reality that isn't even real? Let's step into this unsettling possibility, a realm where time as we understand it might be a construct, a parameter designed by something or someone beyond our comprehension. Welcome to the simulation hypothesis, a labyrinth of thought that dares us to question whether we are truly the masters of our moments or merely pawns in a grand orchestrated game. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast digital landscape where every sunrise and sunset, every heartbeat, is a pixel in an incomprehensible program. The simulation hypothesis suggests that our reality might be a construct, a meticulously designed system akin to a video game or a virtual world, created by a higher intelligence, an advanced civilization, a cosmic architect, or perhaps something we cannot even fathom. In this framework, time is not a river flowing endlessly through the cosmos. It is a variable, a setting dialed in to give structure to our experience. But why would time be necessary in such a simulation? Could it be a tool to keep us bound, to give us the illusion of progress, of purpose, as we move from one scripted moment to the next? Consider the nature of a computer program. Within its code, time is often a loop, a counter that increments to simulate progression. A video game character experiences day and night because the system dictates it, not because the sun truly rises or falls in their world. What if our own perception of time is no different? We wake, we work, we sleep, and we mark the passing of years, all while an unseen hand adjusts the parameters of our existence. Perhaps our memories of childhood, our anticipation of tomorrow, are nothing more than data points stored and retrieved to maintain the continuity of the simulation. If this is true, then the weight of every decision, every regret, might be an illusion as well, a narrative device to keep us engaged in the story being told. Let's wander deeper into this thought. If time is a fabricated construct, who or what controls its pace? Is there a purpose behind the seconds that slip through our fingers? Or are they merely a mechanism to limit us, to ensure we never glimpse the edges of the code that surrounds us? Ancient philosophers like Plato spoke of a world of shadows, a mere reflection of a truer reality. In his allegory of the cave, prisoners mistook flickering images on a wall for the whole of existence. Are we too chained to a false understanding of time, unable to see the machinery behind the curtain? Modern thinkers, echoing these ancient doubts, point to the eerie precision of our universe, the fine-tuned constants that allow life to exist, as evidence that we might be living within a designed system. If time is part of that design, then every moment we cherish could be a carefully orchestrated lie, Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of the seconds as they pass right now. Are they truly yours, or are they borrowed from a script you didn't write? Let that question linger, like a whisper in the quiet of your mind, as we consider the implications of such a reality. If time is a parameter set by a higher intelligence, then our sense of freedom, our belief in the ability to shape our futures, might be the greatest deception of all. We plan, we dream, we mourn the past, all under the assumption that time is ours to navigate. But what if it's a cage, invisible yet unyielding, programmed to keep us moving forward on a predetermined path? Now imagine the creator of this simulation, whether a being, a machine, or a force beyond our grasp, watching as we grapple with the concept of time. Do they marvel at our confusion, or do they pity us for our inability to see beyond the illusion? Perhaps time, in its relentless march, is a gift within the simulation, a way to give meaning to our fleeting existence. Without it, there would be no growth, no stories, no sense of loss or triumph. Or perhaps it is a cruelty, a reminder that we are bound by rules we didn't choose, counting down to an end that was written long before we began. As we sit with this possibility, let's ponder one final haunting question. If time is indeed a fabricated element of a simulated reality, does it diminish the beauty of the moments we hold dear? Does knowing or suspecting that the clock is a construct make your laughter less real, your grief less heavy? Or does it deepen the mystery of why we feel so much? Why we cling to the fleeting now, even if it's all part of a grand design? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your thoughts drift to a memory, a single second that felt eternal, and ask yourself, does its origin matter, or is its weight in your heart the only truth that counts? In the quiet of this contemplation, we rest with the unknown. Whether time is a cosmic truth or a coded illusion, it shapes us. It binds us. It whispers to us in ways we may never fully understand. And perhaps that is the most profound mystery of all, not whether time is real, but how deeply we live within its shadow, simulated or not. Let this thought carry you into a gentle stillness, a space where questions need no answers, and the ticking of the clock fades into a distant, enigmatic Imagine for a moment that the very fabric of reality isn't as seamless as it appears. Beneath the surface of our everyday experience, where seconds tick by and minutes unfold with predictable rhythm, there lies a hidden world, a realm so small, so elusive, that time itself seems to stutter and fracture. What if the steady flow of time, the river we've always trusted to carry us forward, is nothing more than an illusion at its deepest level? Let us step cautiously into this strange terrain, where the rules of existence bend and reality reveals itself as a mosaic of broken fragments. In the domain of quantum mechanics, the science of the infinitesimally small, time does not behave as we expect. Here, at the scale of atoms and particles, the universe operates under principles that defy our intuition. Scientists peering into this world have found that time may not glide smoothly forward, but instead flicker in discrete, almost imperceptible units, tiny quanta of duration, as if reality itself is a stuttering film reel, pausing and jumping in ways we cannot perceive. Picture a clock, not with hands that sweep gracefully around its face, but one that jerks unpredictably, ticking in fits and starts. Could it be that time, as we know it, is merely a convenient story we tell ourselves to mask this jagged, fractured truth? This notion unsettles the mind. We are accustomed to seeing time as a continuous thread, weaving through our lives, connecting one moment to the next. But in the quantum realm, that thread frays. Experiments like the observation of particle decay or the strange behavior of entangled particles suggest that time might not always flow in a single direction, or flow at all. There are hints that, at this fundamental level, past, present, and future blur into a kind of superposition, a state where all possibilities exist at once until something, or someone, observes them into being. Does this mean that reality itself is fragmented, a patchwork of fleeting instants that only seem whole because our senses are too clumsy to notice the seams. Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine your own existence, not as a smooth journey through time, but as a series of disconnected snapshots, each one a fleeting frame in a cosmic gallery. What does it mean to live in a universe where time might be less a river and more a scattering of droplets, suspended in an eternal void? Does our perception of continuity, of a life that unfolds with purpose and direction, become nothing more than a comforting illusion, a trick of the mind to shield us from the chaos beneath? And yet, there is a haunting beauty in this fractured reality. If time at its core is not a steady march but a dance of probabilities, then perhaps there is room for mystery, for unpredictability, even for freedom. In the quantum world, particles exist in multiple states until they are measured, as if the act of observation itself shapes what is real. Could it be that time, too, waits for us to give it meaning? Are we, in some unknowable way, the architects of its rhythm, stitching together these broken pieces into a story we can understand? Or are we merely passengers, caught in a dance we cannot see, blind to the true nature of time's erratic steps? Let this thought linger as we drift deeper into the enigma. Consider the possibility that the smooth passage of hours and days is but a veil, hiding a reality far stranger than we can grasp. At the smallest scales, where the laws of physics twist and turn, time may not be the constant we've always believed it to be. It flickers, it fractures, it defies. And in that defiance, there is a quiet invitation to question, to wonder, to let go of certainty and embrace the unknown. For if time itself is not whole, then perhaps neither are we, and in that shared imperfection, there lies a kind of solace, a whispered reminder that even in a broken universe, there is still space for awe. Imagine for a moment that the ticking of the clock, the turning of the calendar page, isn't a universal truth but a tale woven by the hands of humanity. What if the very rhythm of time, which governs our days and nights, is nothing more than a story, a narrative we've all agreed to live by without ever questioning its origins? Let us wander into this quiet mystery, exploring how the shape of time shifts across the tapestry of human culture, revealing itself not as a fixed force, but as a fragile, crafted illusion. In the ancient worlds, time often danced in circles. For many indigenous cultures, like the Maya or the Hindu traditions, existence was a great wheel, turning endlessly through cycles of creation and destruction, birth and rebirth. Seasons returned, harvests bloomed and faded, and the cosmos itself seemed to breathe in rhythmic repetition. There was no rush toward a distant future, no straight line to some ultimate destination. Instead, life was a spiral, a return to what had been before, each moment echoing the eternal. Imagine living in such a world, where the past isn't behind you but beneath you, layered into the present like sediment in the earth. Does such a view make time feel less like a tyrant, less like a thief slipping moments from your grasp? Contrast this with the modern lens, where time stretches out before us like a road, a linear path we must race along. In the wake of the Industrial Revolution, clocks became our masters, segmenting life into hours, minutes, seconds. Productivity became the measure of worth and progress the ultimate goal. We began to see time as a resource to be spent, a currency to be hoarded or wasted. But pause and think, why do we accept this relentless march? Is it because it mirrors some deeper truth about the universe, or simply because it suits the machinery of a society built on efficiency and endless forward motion? Take a moment to reflect on this. How does the shape of time in your life mold the way you feel, the way you dream? Even within our own era, time wears different faces. In some cultures, punctuality is a virtue etched in stone. Being late is a quiet betrayal. In others, time flows like a river, unhurried and forgiving, where an appointment is more a suggestion than a command. Picture a bustling city street in Tokyo, where trains arrive with a precision that feels almost sacred. and then drift to a small village in the Mediterranean, where the afternoon stretches lazily and conversations linger over coffee as if hours were infinite. Neither is right or wrong, yet each shapes the heartbeat of those who live within it. Could it be that time itself is not a universal drumbeat, but a melody composed by the hands of culture, played on instruments of tradition and belief? This thought lingers like a shadow in the mind. If time is so malleable, so dependent on the stories we tell, what is it truly? Is it a force that exists beyond us, or merely a mirror reflecting our collective imagination? Consider the child who loses hours in play, unaware of the clock's ticking, or the elder who feels decades collapse into a single sigh. Their experience of time defies the rigid structure we've built around it. Perhaps then, time is not a river or a road, not a cycle or a line, but a canvas, painted by the hands of those who live within its frame. And if this is so, what power do we hold to reshape it, to step outside the story we've been told? Let this idea settle into the quiet corners of your thoughts. Imagine a world where time is not a ruler, but a suggestion, a whisper rather than a shout. How would you live if the constraints of minutes and hours dissolved, if the weight of deadlines and schedules lifted like mist at dawn? Take a moment to reflect on this. In the silence between one breath and the next, can you feel the possibility of a time unbound, shaped not by culture, but by the rhythm of your own being? As we linger in this space, the mystery deepens. If time is a construct, a tale spun by humanity across centuries, then perhaps we are both its authors and its captives. We write the rules, yet bow to them as if they were written in the stars. But in this quiet hour, let us wonder, what other stories could we tell? What other shapes could time take if we dared to imagine beyond the boundaries of what we've known? Let this question drift with you, a gentle current in the stillness, as we rest in the enigma of time's many faces. Imagine a vast, uncharted void, a place before your first breath, a realm after your last, a stretch of endlessness where your name, your story, your very essence never existed. It's a thought that creeps in quietly, like a shadow at dusk, unsettling in its simplicity. Before you were here, time rolled on without you. After you're gone, it will do the same. Does time, this invisible river we cling to, only hold meaning because we're here to feel its current? Or does it whisper secrets of a deeper truth, far beyond the fragile thread of our awareness? Let's linger in this strange, haunting space, the memory of non-existence. Picture yourself standing at the edge of your own beginning, gazing back into an abyss where no memory of you resides. There, time was a silent witness to a world without your laughter, your pain, your dreams. Empires rose and crumbled. Stars ignited and faded. Oceans carved their paths through stone, all without a single trace of you to mark their passing. It's almost unthinkable, isn't it? We spend our days wrapped in the illusion that we are the center of time's story, that its ticking somehow revolves around our presence. Yet, in the grand tapestry of existence, we are but a fleeting stitch, easily unraveled, easily forgotten. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of that void, the quiet indifference of a universe that existed long before your first thought, and will persist long after your last. Does it chill you, this notion that time does not need us to keep moving? Or is there a strange comfort in it? A release from the burden of significance, a reminder that our smallness is not a flaw, but a kind of freedom. Now let's turn this thought over, like a stone smoothed by countless tides. If time carries on without us, indifferent to our comings and goings, does it possess a meaning of its own? Philosophers have wrestled with this for centuries, some suggesting that time is merely a backdrop, a stage on which the drama of existence plays out. Others, like the ancient Stoics, might argue that time's indifference is precisely what gives our lives their urgency. Because we are temporary, we must carve meaning into every fleeting moment. But what if time itself is untouched by meaning, a cold, eternal mechanism that neither mourns nor celebrates our brief dance within it? What if its endless march is not a canvas for our purpose, but a mirror reflecting our desperate need to find one? Consider the alternative. Perhaps time only becomes real through us. Maybe it is our consciousness, our ability to remember and to imagine, that breathes life into the abstract. Before you were born, time existed as a concept, a measurement, a force, but did it matter? Without a mind to perceive it, to dread its passing or yearn for its return, was time anything more than a silent hum in the void? There's a mystery here, a quiet riddle that tugs at the edges of understanding. If our awareness is what imbues time with weight, then perhaps we are not just its passengers, but its creators, at least within the narrow scope of our own existence. Let this thought settle over you like a gentle mist. Imagine yourself as a fleeting spark in an endless night, illuminating just a fraction of time's vast expanse. Before you, there was nothing of you to know it. After you, there will be nothing of you to remember it. Yet here, in this fragile, now you stand as a witness, a temporary bridge between two infinities. Does time need you to exist in order to matter? Or is its meaning something greater, something woven into the fabric of the cosmos, waiting to be discovered, or forever? Out of reach, take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander into that unlit space before your birth, after your end. Feel the quiet enormity of a time that does not know your name. And as you sit with this, ask yourself, is time's indifference a burden or a strange, unshackling truth? Let the question linger, unanswered, as you drift deeper into thought, into wonder, into the stillness of this eternal riddle. Imagine for a moment that the very fabric of your existence, the steady rhythm of days and nights, the inevitable march of years, is not a river carrying you forward, but a cage locking you in. What if time, this silent arbiter of our lives, is not a gift to be cherished, but a prison we cannot escape? Let this thought settle over you like a quiet shadow as we wander into the philosophical depths of time as a limiter, a boundary that shapes our potential and binds us to the fleeting nature of all things. Consider the way we live, tethered to the ticking of clocks, to the turning of calendars. Every breath we take is measured. Every dream we chase is raced against, an unseen deadline. Time dictates when we rise, when we rest, when we must let go of what we love. It is a force so ingrained in our being that we rarely stop to ask, why must it rule us so completely? Ancient thinkers, like the Stoics, saw time as a reminder of impermanence, a call to embrace the present before it slips into the void. Yet, even in their wisdom, there is a faint tremor of resignation, a recognition that time is a master we cannot defy. We are born into its domain, and from that first cry, we begin to decay, our bodies and ambitions slowly surrendering to its relentless pull. But what if this decay, this impermanence, is not merely a fact of life, but a chain forged by time itself? Picture a bird in a gilded cage, its wings strong and eager, yet unable to soar beyond the bars. Are we not like that bird, our potential vast and untested, confined by the limits of moments and years? Philosophers like Schopenhauer have whispered of time as a torment, a ceaseless cycle of wanting and loss, where every achievement is eroded by the very force that allowed it to bloom. To exist in time is to be caught in a paradox. We strive for meaning, for legacy, yet time ensures that all we build will someday crumble into dust. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of time's hand upon your shoulder. The quiet promise that nothing lasts. Let us linger on this idea of liberation. Could there be a way to slip through the bars of this temporal prison? Some mystical traditions speak of transcending time, of reaching a state where the soul is untouched by beginnings and endings. In the teachings of certain Eastern philosophies, time is an illusion, a veil over the eternal. If we could pierce that veil, might we find a boundless freedom, a place where the self is no longer bound by yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears? Imagine stepping outside the stream of time, standing on its shore as it flows past, untouched and whole. Yet, even as we dream of such release, a haunting doubt remains. Are we capable of such transcendence, or is this longing just another trick of the mind, another bar in the cage? Perhaps the true prison is not time itself, but our perception of it. We have built our lives around its structure, crafting societies that worship its precision, that punish those who fall out of step with its rhythm. We fear its scarcity, hoard its minutes, yet rarely question if this fear is of our own making. What if time's tyranny is a story we tell ourselves, a myth we've accepted without resistance? And yet, even as we ponder this, the heartbeats continue, the seasons turn, and we are drawn back into the current, unable to fully escape the pull of what we cannot see or touch. There is a quiet sorrow in this realization, but also a strange beauty. To be bound by time is to be human, to know the ache of fleeting joys and the sting of inevitable goodbyes. Perhaps the cage is not merely a prison, but a canvas, a space where we paint our stories, however brief they may be. Still, the question lingers like a whisper in the dark. Are we doomed to be time's eternal prisoners? Or is there a key we have yet to find, hidden in the folds of our own consciousness? Let this thought drift with you, a quiet companion as you ponder the nature of your own captivity and the possibility, however faint, of a freedom beyond the clock's unyielding gaze. Imagine, for a moment, that the life you're living right now isn't the only one. That somewhere, in a realm beyond our comprehension, there are countless other versions of you, walking paths you never took, speaking words you never said, feeling joys and sorrows you'll never know. What if every choice you've ever made, or didn't make, has birthed a new reality? A diverging stream of time flowing parallel to this one. Let this thought settle into the quiet corners of your mind as we wander into the vast, unsettling landscape of the multiverse, where timelines split and multiply like the branches of an infinite tree. Consider the weight of a single decision, a moment when you stood at a crossroads. Perhaps it was a chance to move to a distant city, to confess a hidden truth, or to let an opportunity slip through your fingers. In this reality, you chose one path, and the other faded into the shadow of what might have been. But what if that shadow isn't gone at all? What if, in some unseen corner of existence, another version of you took the road less traveled? A version of you who said yes instead of no, who turned left instead of right, who leapt into the unknown while you stayed safe. In the framework of the multiverse, every possibility is realized. Every choice spawns a new universe, a new timeline, where the story of you unfolds differently. Does this thought comfort you, knowing that somewhere, another self might have found the happiness you seek? Or does it haunt you, whispering of lives you'll never live, of dreams that belong to someone else wearing your face? Let's linger on the science that fuels this speculation. In the strange and beautiful world of quantum mechanics, there's a concept known as the many worlds interpretation. It suggests that when a particle faces a choice, say, spinning one way or another, the universe itself splits, creating two realities where each outcome happens. If this is true at the smaller scale of existence, could it ripple upward to the choices we make, the lives we lead? Imagine the cosmos as a vast tapestry, woven not of a single thread, but of countless strands, each representing a timeline, a unique sequence of events. In one strand, you're listening to these words under a starlit sky. In another, you're halfway across the world, unaware of this moment. And in yet another, perhaps this very universe never came to be at all. Take a moment to reflect on this. How does it feel to imagine infinite versions of yourself, each bound by their own version of time, yet forever out of reach? Now let's tread deeper into the mystery. If the multiverse exists, what does it mean for the nature of time itself? Here, in this reality, time feels linear, a steady march from past to present to future. But if timelines diverge with every choice, then time becomes a labyrinth, a sprawling network of paths rather than a single road. Somewhere, a version of you might be reliving a moment you've long forgotten, trapped in a loop of their own making. Somewhere else, another you might have already reached a future you can't yet fathom. Does time then have any singular meaning? Or is it fragmented across infinite realities? And if every possibility exists somewhere, does that diminish the weight of your choices here and now? Or does it make them even heavier, knowing they carve out a unique thread in the endless weave of existence? There's an eerie beauty in this thought, but also a quiet unease. If infinite timelines stretch out beyond our grasp, are we truly unique? Or are we just one echo among countless others? Picture yourself standing at the edge of a cosmic mirror, gazing into reflections that aren't mere images, but living, breathing versions of who you are. They laugh, they cry, they stumble through their own struggles, unaware of you as you are, of them. Do they ever feel a strange pull, a fleeting sense of something beyond their reality, just as you might now? Or are they forever sealed in their own worlds, bound by a time that runs parallel, but never intersects? Let this notion drift through your mind like a soft breeze on a still night. What would you say to these other selves if you could reach them? Would you warn them of mistakes you've made, or would you simply watch, curious about the paths they've chosen? Perhaps the true mystery of the multiverse isn't whether it exists, but what it reveals about us, our longing to know if we've lived the best version of our story, or if somewhere, in some other timeline, a better one awaits. Take a moment to reflect on this possibility, letting the vastness of it wash over you. A quiet reminder that even in this single thread of time, your choices ripple with a significance that might resonate far beyond what you can see. As we linger in this thought, let the boundaries of your reality soften. Whether the multiverse is a scientific truth or a poetic dream, it invites us to wonder about the nature of our existence, the infinite potential hidden in every fleeting moment. Perhaps, in this very instant, another version of you is pondering the same question, gazing into the same abyss of possibility. And perhaps, in that shared wonder, there's a connection that transcends even the barriers of time itself. Let this thought carry you into a quiet stillness, a space where the weight of infinite worlds feels, for just a moment, like a gentle whisper rather than an endless burden. Imagine for a moment that every step humanity has taken, every monument built, every war fought, every invention celebrated, is nothing more than a mirage shimmering on the horizon of time. We call it progress, this relentless push forward, this belief that we are climbing ever upward towards some grand destiny. But what if this journey, this arc of advancement we cling to so dearly, is merely an illusion? What if, beneath the surface of our triumphs and failures, we are simply walking in circles, tracing the same worn paths under a different sky? Let us wander into this unsettling thought, drifting through the echoes of history and the quiet doubts that linger in the shadows of our so-called progress. Consider the great empires of the past. Rome with its sprawling roads and aqueducts, Egypt with its towering pyramids, Mesopotamia with its cradle of civilization. Each believed they were forging something eternal, something that would stand as a beacon of human achievement. And yet, where are they now? Their stones crumble, their languages fade, their glories reduced to whispers in textbooks and ruins, under sand. We look back and call it progress, that we have surpassed them, with our gleaming skyscrapers and digital networks stretching across the globe. But are we so different? Will our cities not one day lie buried beneath the weight of time, just as theirs have? Take a moment to reflect on this. Are we building anything truly new, or are we simply repeating the same ancient urge to defy our impermanence? History, when you peer closely, seems less like a straight line and more like a wheel. Patterns emerge, cycles repeat. Wars erupt over the same desires for power and land, only with sharper weapons. Societies rise with promises of equality and justice, only to fracture under the weight of greed or fear, as they always have. Even our revolutions, those fiery bursts of change we herald as progress, often bend back into familiar shapes. The oppressed become oppressors. The new order mirrors the old. In the 18th century, the French Revolution promised liberty, yet it spiraled into terror and tyranny before settling into yet another hierarchy. Today, we champion technological revolutions, believing they will save us. Artificial intelligence, renewable energy, space colonization. But are we solving the root of our struggles, or merely dressing them in new garb? Is our faith in progress just a comforting story we tell ourselves to mask the repetition of our flaws? Let's linger on this idea of repetition, this quiet suspicion that we are not moving forward at all. Think of the seasons, how they turn in endless cycles, each spring blooming as if for the first time, each winter burying the world in familiar silence. Humanity, too, seems caught in such a rhythm. Our innovations dazzle, yes, but they often serve the same primal needs: connection, survival, dominance. The printing press gave way to the internet, yet both carry the same human voices of wisdom and spite. The spear became the missile, yet the intent to harm remains unchanged. If progress is an illusion, then what are we chasing? Are we running toward a horizon that recedes with every step? Or are we merely spinning in place, blind to the sameness of our dance? And yet, there's a deeper question whispering beneath this doubt. If progress is an illusion, does it diminish the meaning of our efforts? Even if we are bound to repeat the same mistakes, to rebuild only to destroy again, there is something achingly human in our striving. Perhaps it is not the destination that matters, but the act of reaching, the hope that flickers in every new idea, every dream of a better tomorrow. Or perhaps this too is part of the illusion, a trick of the mind to keep us moving, to keep us believing in a forward march that loops endlessly back to where we began. Take a moment to reflect on this. What if the beauty and the tragedy of our existence lie not in where we're going, but in our unshakable need to believe we are going somewhere at all? As we sit with this thought, let it settle over you like a quiet fog. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a vast field, gazing at the footprints of those who came before, their paths weaving and overlapping in intricate, endless loops. You see your own tracks among them, blending into the tapestry of time. Are you walking towards something new, or are you simply adding another layer to a story already told? The answer eludes us, as it always has. But in this moment of stillness, there is a strange peace in not knowing. Let that peace linger. Let it carry you into a deeper contemplation of what it means to be part of this mysterious, cyclical journey we call human history. Imagine yourself adrift in the vast, uncharted expanse of the cosmos, far beyond the reach of Earth's familiar horizons. There are no stars to guide you, no planets to anchor your gaze, just an endless void, a canvas of pure darkness stretching into infinity. In this profound silence, where even the faintest whisper of life cannot reach, something peculiar happens. Time, that ever-present companion we've come to rely on, begins to fade. It slips away like a shadow dissolving into night, leaving behind a question that hums softly in the stillness. Does time truly exist out here, in the emptiness of space? Or is it merely a construct we've carried with us from a world we've left behind? Picture yourself floating in this boundless abyss, untethered from the rhythms of day and night, free from the ticking of clocks and the turning of calendars. There is no sunrise to mark a beginning, no sunset to signal an end. The very idea of hours, minutes, and seconds feels like a distant memory, a relic of a life bound to gravity and routine. Out here, in the heart of the void, time seems to lose its grip. It becomes an abstract notion, a faint echo of something we once knew, now reduced to a whisper we can barely hear. What is a moment when there is nothing to measure it against? What is a lifetime when there is no change to define its passing? In this emptiness, we are forced to confront the possibility that time may not be the universal truth we've assumed it to be. Perhaps it is a human invention, a way to impose order on a universe that owes us no explanations. Consider the astronauts who have ventured into the silence of space, their lives momentarily unshackled from the relentless march of Earth's time. They speak of a strange disorientation, a sense of being suspended in an eternal now, where the boundaries between past, present, and future blur into irrelevance. Clocks still tick aboard their spacecraft, of course, but those mechanical pulses feel almost comical against the backdrop of an infinite expanse. Out there, time is no longer a ruler to be obeyed. It becomes a suggestion, a vestige of a world far away. And in that realization, a quiet unease emerges. If time can so easily dissolve in the void, what does that say about its reality? Is it a force woven into the fabric of the universe? Or is it something we've conjured, a fragile lens through which we view our fleeting existence? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself in that cosmic silence, adrift without a tether to the familiar. Can you feel the weight of time lifting, even for an instant? Can you sense the vastness swallowing the very idea of before and after, leaving only the quiet hum of being? Now, let's wander deeper into this thought. In the void of space, where no human voice can carry and no heartbeat can be felt, we might glimpse time's true nature, or perhaps its utter absence. Some physicists suggest that time, as we understand it, is inseparable from motion and change. On Earth, we mark its passage through the turning of seasons, the aging of our bodies, the decay of all things. But out here, in the unchanging emptiness between galaxies, where nothing moves and nothing transforms, does time still flow? Or does it stand still, frozen in a state we cannot comprehend? There are theories that propose time itself is tied to the presence of matter and energy, that without these, it ceases to hold meaning. If that is true, then in the deepest reaches of the cosmos, time might not just fade, it might vanish altogether, leaving us to wonder if we've ever truly understood it at all. And yet, even as we ponder this, a subtle mystery lingers. If time disappears in the void, why do we still feel its shadow within us? Why does the mind, even in imagination, cling to the idea of duration, of progression, as if it cannot bear to let go? Perhaps this is the greatest enigma of all, that time, whether real or illusory, is not just a measure of the external world, but a reflection of our inner one. Out here, in the silence of the cosmos, stripped of all familiar markers, we are left with nothing but our own consciousness to grapple with its essence. Do we finally see time for what it is? A fleeting, fragile construct? Or does it slip even further from our grasp, dissolving into the infinite dark? Let this thought settle over you like a quiet mist. Picture yourself still drifting, surrounded by nothingness, with no need to hurry, no need to count the moments. In this boundless silence, time seems to whisper one final secret, that perhaps it was never meant to be held, only felt. And as you linger in that vast, unbroken stillness, the question remains, does time define us? Or do we define it, even here, in the endless void where nothing else dares to speak? Imagine for a moment that time is not a river flowing ceaselessly forward, but a vast, still ocean, one where every wave, every ripple is suspended in an eternal embrace. As we come to this quiet juncture, let us linger on the edge of understanding, gazing into the profound mystery of time and our place within it. What are we, if not fleeting sparks in an incomprehensible expanse? Are we merely carried along by time's unseen currents? Or do we, in some quiet way, imbue it with meaning through the sheer act of existing? Picture yourself seated by a window at the close of a long day. The world outside bathed in the soft amber of twilight. The air is still, the sounds of life muted, as if the universe itself has paused to listen. In this moment, time seems to loosen its grip, allowing a rare glimpse into something deeper, a question that has haunted humanity since we first looked to the stars. Are we bound to time, shackled by its relentless march, or do we hold the power to define it through the stories we weave, the dreams we chase, the love we give? Consider this. Perhaps time is not a master we serve, but a canvas we paint upon. Each brushstroke a memory, a hope, a fleeting breath. Let us wander back through the corridors of thought, to the ancient minds who first wrestled with this enigma. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus once mused that no one steps into the same river twice, for both the river and the person are ever-changing. Yet, in the stillness of this reflection, might we ask, if everything flows, if nothing stays, what are we holding on to when we speak of time? Is it a measure of change, a marker of loss, or simply the space in which we come to know ourselves? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of that question settle into your mind, like a stone sinking into deep water, sending ripples through the quiet of your being. Now, imagine standing on the shore of existence itself, looking out across an endless horizon. In one direction lies the past, a tapestry of moments, some vivid, others faded like old photographs. In the other, the future, a shimmering mirage, always just out of reach. And here, where you stand, is the now, so fragile it slips through your fingers even as you try to grasp it. Could it be that time is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting our own longing to understand who we are? Or does it carry a truth beyond our comprehension, a silent rhythm that plays on whether we hear it or not? As we sit with this mystery, let us consider our own fleeting dance with time. Every breath, every heartbeat marks a step in a journey we cannot fully map. We build monuments to permanence, families, legacies, art, yet even these are whispers against the vastness of eternity. And perhaps that is the quiet beauty of it all, that in our impermanence we find the urge to create, to connect, to wonder. If time is a current, are we merely passengers adrift? Or do we shape its meaning with every choice, every quiet moment of awe? Let that thought linger, like the last note of a song fading into silence. In the stillness of this reflection, there is no need for answers, only the space to wonder. Picture yourself now, lying beneath a canopy of stars, the night sky stretching endlessly above. Time seems to dissolve here, as if the universe itself is inviting you to rest in its mystery. What does it mean to be in a world where time may be nothing more than a dream we've agreed to share? Let this question drift with you, gentle and unhurried, as you sink deeper into thought, or perhaps into the soft embrace of sleep. There is no rush, no destination, only the enigma of it all, cradling you in its quiet depths.